a lot of this is frankly driven by the ease of accessibility to funding. All right, you've heard about ESG, right? You've heard about these sort of like these investment funds and banks that have criteria. People don't realize this, but even Electronic Arts doesn't spend their own money to make these games. Okay, they go out. Your CFO is your best friend. They go out and they finance this stuff at cheap money rates. For example, the last great economic crisis, the banking crisis, Lehman Brothers stuff. During that time, we were working on a deal with EA. They were taking bank bailout money in order to make those games because it was dirt cheap, right? It was like basically either interest-free or nearly interest-free. And you have this situation again in the past couple of years, I would say 6 years or so, where ESG funds and interest rates were low enough that that's where the cheap money is. And so you're not going to risk your own money from your games to do this. You're going to borrow a chunk of it at really cheap rates because you're going to make a lot more that way, and you're going to risk less. You're going to spread the risk, especially with the cost of games these days. So now, if you need access to ESG money, what do you got to do? You got to follow the checklist. You have to check XYZ box. You have to show that you're being diverse, inclusive, everything else. And so what's the easiest way to do that? Well, you show all the things that you're doing within the company to do it. So there's, not only do you do things like hire firms like Sweet Baby Inc. to be sensitivity readers and actually change your game and gender flip or race flip characters, but you bring in even hiring. There are firms, I believe there's a couple firms in Europe, a couple firms in the US that specialize in fixing your hiring ratio, and also not just that, but your promotion and management structure. So, you've probably heard, and you haven't heard this much in gaming, but outside of gaming, you hear about, straight white males not being promoted, Google especially, right? That's all coming out of Google. That's part of it. So you show all these initiatives.
We've been following this exact same thing in the entertainment industry for years.
Yeah, I would say games maybe just a couple years behind Hollywood, right, in terms of these trends, but maybe two years, maybe 3. And so that's what's driving a lot of this. Now, of course, ESG is drying up a little bit. Some of it's being rebranded because it's a bad name now, but the returns aren't there, right? Wall Street's saying, hey, everything that we did that was ESG has been tanking on returns compared to everything else. So that helps, but it hasn't really hit gaming yet. Gaming is still in the middle of that. There are DEI departments, I just got some messages today, they're sending out multiple emails per week lecturing and admonishing about white privilege, about cultural sensitivity, several a week. All right. I mean, I don't know
who's sending these emails.
The DEI department next to HR or HR.
Okay. Yep.
Depending on if they're one department or 2 departments. But I can't imagine. Can you ever think of when you'd ever hear from HR more than once a month in an email chain?
I think a lot of these people get drunk on power.
Yeah, several times a week. And as Blizzard, personally, I can attest that my friends who are no longer there, they would be pulled into basically struggle sessions where they had to admit their white privilege. These were special sessions for white male developers, and this is what they had
everybody
to do.
in the company that was working there.
The white male
the problematic
developers,
ones.
Just the white men.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That has to be against the law.
It's all against the law. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
hey, wait, we have a lawyer on the stream? You tell me.
I mean,